New Hampshire now has its second Libertarian Party representative and cannabis decriminalization. Thank you for joining me on the 38th episode of the LAVA Spurt. New Hampshire, it's like this too. This episode is brought to you by Praxis, where you can get a full-time job in 9 months, making $50,000 a year with no college degree.
Welcome to the LAVA Spurt, the weekly offshoot of the Lava Flow. Channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Brought to you by my per-episode donors. Thank you. Here's your host, Roger Paxton.
As you guys know, I moved to New Hampshire as part of the Free State Project a little more than a year and a half ago, and I still get the question often from libertarians around the country. If it's the Free State Project, why isn't it a libertarian utopia yet? These libertarians apparently missed the operative word, project. It's exactly that, a project. An experiment, if you will, to see if thousands of active, hardcore libertarians in a given geographic area can bring about liberty in our lifetimes. I'm confident that it can, which is why I moved here. And it's weeks like this that remind me that we really are helping to make a difference. And with only 10% of the people moved so far, and including in-state friends, the Free State Project is nearly at 25% of its goal of 20,000 libertarians in the state. This week alone, we had one big win that probably wouldn't have happened without Free State Project participants and native libertarians, along with others, working together to make it happen. The New Hampshire State Senate passed marijuana decriminalization with a vote of 17-6. This is highly unusual because the House has sent cannabis decriminalization bills to the Senate 8 times in the last 10 years, always to be shot down in the Senate. The bill the Senate passed this time is slightly different than the original House bill, so now it has to go back to the House to be reconciled, then onto the governor's desk. The House will almost certainly pass the reconciliation, since they voted 318-36 to send the original bill onto the Senate. And the Republican governor has made it clear that he will sign the measure into law, calling it, quote, common sense marijuana reform. When the bill becomes law, possession of 3/4 of an ounce or less will be treated as a violation, subject to fines, $100 for the first or second offense, and up to $300 for any subsequent offense within a 3-year period. The bill allows for 3 violations in a 3-year period before someone faces criminal penalties for a Class B misdemeanor. The bill specifically forbids police officers from arresting anyone for a marijuana possession violation, and it requires that all money collected from fines would be deposited in the state's fund to pay for services to combat alcohol and substance abuse. Once the governor signs the bill, it will go into effect after 60 days. No word yet on if the governor will be giving pardons to anyone who is currently in prison for a crime that will now be legal, but one can hope. Either way, this is a huge win that will impact the lives of thousands in the state who will now not be saddled with a criminal conviction for simple possession. Look, guys, I'm sure that you know that student loan debt is a collective $1.4 trillion right now, with 25% of graduates still struggling to find meaningful employment. Instead of being a statistic, you can choose to live life on your own terms and join the intellectually stimulating, collaborative community of Praxis. While getting a paid apprenticeship with a dynamic growing company, Praxis participants receive intensive professional development that they describe as freedom, empowerment, creativity, progress, achievement, inspiring, and challenging that leads directly to a full-time job. To learn more about how you can ignite your future with this fire-starting collaborative community of Praxis, go to discoverpraxis.com/lava. If you take the 15 seconds it takes to give them your email address, you'll also get a free 20-minute video called The Value Creation Mindset on how to make yourself irresistible to companies that are hiring by making yourself valuable to those companies. Again, that's discoverpraxis.com/lava. Another bit of good news is that the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire now has its second sitting state house representative. Joseph Stalkop was elected in November as a Democrat, and he made the switch to the Libertarian Party this past Wednesday. This follows Caleb Dyer making the move to the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire from the Republican Party back in February. This makes New Hampshire the state with more sitting reps than all of the other 49 states combined. And as Arvin Vohra, the vice chair of the National Party, said, this is perhaps the youngest political caucus in the world, since both representatives are 21 years old. Full disclosure, I'm the current vice chairman of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. The fact that the LPNH has now pulled representatives from both the left and the right just goes to show that libertarians are not pot-loving Republicans or Democrats who understand economics. Stalkop said, quote, my time in Concord reinforced my view of the ineptitude that can exist by those in charge. I originally joined the Democratic Party in hopes of making a difference through critical thinking and my classical liberal viewpoint. Yet with a lack of unbiased data in caucuses, as well as backlashes on votes that I've independently made, it seems there is no longer a place for me here. With a high regard for individuals personally working in their communities to implement positive change, I hereby transfer to the Libertarian Party. Stalkop says the criticism he received on some of his votes that weren't along party lines, including on whether to change the state's marriage age and whether to require a permit to carry a concealed firearm, came from within the Democratic Party itself and not his constituents. That was frustrating, he said. He voted in favor of indefinitely postponing legislation to change the minimum age someone can get married in New Hampshire from 13 for girls and 14 for boys to 18 years old for both sexes, and for allowing people to carry concealed firearms without a permit. One of the most interesting things about New Hampshire is its libertarian streak. We truly do take the state motto, live free or die, to heart. There are dozens of libertarians in both the Republican and the Democrat Party currently sitting in the state house, and more than 24 Free State Project participants have been elected to that house as Rs and Ds. That in itself sets the state in a place apart from all other states, but now with 2 sitting libertarian state reps, it's just further proof. If you need even more proof that New Hampshire is the destination where it's at for libertarians, make sure to check out the free video on YouTube, 101 Reasons Why Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. Until next time, keep striking the root.
Thank you for listening to The Lava Flow at thelavaflow.com. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe now at thelavaflow.com/subscribe. This has been a Pax Libertas Productions podcast.